He's been called a generational talent, a can't-miss prospect, the next face of the NBA. At just 18, Cooper Flagg's name is already being whispered alongside legends like LeBron, KD, Zion, and Wemby. The mixtapes are viral, the headlines are glowing, and the hype machine is going all out. Basically, the basketball world has crowned him the chosen one. But what if we're confused by all the noise? What if Cooper Flagg isn't the savior of the league, but just the latest product of yet another media overdrive? What if Cooper Flagg isn't who we think he is? Let's do a little rewinding. Cooper Flagg is a 6'9" forward with a smooth jumper, advanced instincts, elite timing on defense, and the kind of highlight plays that rack up millions of views before he even breaks a sweat. He's reclassified to the class of 2024, committed to Duke, and is already a lock in most mock drafts as the #1 pick in the 2025 NBA draft. On paper, he's the prototype. In the media, he's the messiah. But we've seen this story before, and it rarely ends the way people think. For every LeBron, there are 5 OJ Mayos. So for every KD, a handful of Michael Beasleys. We all say that Jabari Parker was supposed to change the franchise, and Dennis Smith Jr. was the future of the point guard position. The fact is that these weren't just great high school players. They were marketed as the second coming, and they sure had all of the star quality. Then what ended up going so wrong? There are always injuries, system mismatches, mental fatigue, media pressure, and sometimes they just couldn't be that guy. So while the league didn't break them, the expectations sure did. And now that the Dallas Mavericks traded away Luka Doncic in early 2025, fans and analysts alike were caught off guard. But the 2025 draft lottery arrived, showing how against 1.8% odds, Dallas landed the #1 pick, almost certainly to select Cooper Flagg. Suddenly, Flagg became more than a prospect. He became the narrative. However, now, Flagg isn't just carrying expectations as the top draft pick. He's expected to erase fan trauma, fix a messed up franchise, and justify the most controversial trade in modern NBA history. That's a heavy burden. So before we hand him the crown, we can't help but wonder, what if Cooper Flagg is just a respectably talented player and not the generational icon we're being sold by the sports media?
Over a month away from the NBA draft, Dallas has the #1 pick. How do you see yourself fitting in there?
For me, wherever I end up, wherever it is, I'm just gonna, try and be me to the best of my ability. Do what I've, keep my core values to what I've done since day one, and I'm gonna keep trying to be me and play both sides of the ball and just play really hard in every single possession.
Cooper Flagg is undeniably talented. At Montverde Academy, he's been a defensive anchor and a two-way threat on a roster loaded with other top prospects. His shot-blocking instincts and off-ball rotations present a basketball IQ well beyond his age. In fact, in the 2023 to 2024 season, he actually averaged roughly 16 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, along with 2.5 blocks per game. These are definitely strong numbers. But the leap from promising prospect to face of the league is massive, and the media's fast-track narrative often skips over the nuance. In events like the Nike Hoop Summit and Team USA's U17 matchups, Flagg has had moments of brilliance, but not total authority. Against international competition, he's had difficulty asserting himself as a primary defensive option. His shooting percentages dip when forced to create off the dribble, and he sometimes fades from games when his jumper isn't falling. On the AAU circuit, particularly during EYBL Peach Jam, Flagg's impact was evident on defense, but offensively, he was often best as a secondary option. Scouts noted his struggle against smaller, quicker defenders who disrupted his rhythm and exposed a still developing handle. None of this means he's overhyped beyond repair. It just means the story being told That Flagg is the inevitable heir to LeBron or Luka is skipping critical developmental steps. The NBA isn't one with mixtapes or potential alone. Flagg might still be great, but the league has broken players with less fanfare and more polish.
Now for Jalen Green! Oh my goodness! He did it!
At 6'8", with a smooth jumper, Adam Morrison was once seen as the future of the NBA. In 2006, he led the NCAA in scoring at Gonzaga, averaged nearly 29 points per game, and won fans with his emotional play and impressive shooting range. Like Cooper Flagg, Morrison wasn't just good. He was the guy, a sure thing, a lottery pick. He was drafted 3rd overall. By 2012, he was out of the league. The comparison here isn't meant to discredit Flagg. It's just to take a look at how dangerous this kind of hype can be when it overlooks nuances. Morrison dominated college basketball, but he lacked NBA-level athleticism, struggled to create separation, and was a defensive liability against faster, stronger pros. Flagg, in many ways, is more versatile. He's more athletic, more engaged defensively, and younger than Morrison was when he hit his peak. But the pattern is similar. Both were viewed as can't-miss stars due to skill at the amateur level. The NBA, though, doesn't reward college dominance alone. It punishes players who can't evolve. Flagg has yet to face the physicality of the pro game, the 82-game grind, or the pressure of carrying a franchise. Like Morrison, he's praised for his finesse, but that only goes so far if your tools don't adapt. Adam Morrison's fall wasn't about talent, it was about projection. And that's the core question with Cooper Flagg. Are we projecting future greatness based on surface-level dominance? Or are we forgetting just how many boxes need to be checked to actually make it in the NBA? One moment in a packed gym, and it racks up 4 million views. His rise, though, isn't just about talent. It's about timing, narrative, and the modern media's ecosystem's hunger to anoint. The basketball world has been searching quite urgently for the next face of the league.
Showtime!
Zion Williamson's injuries derailed a generational narrative. Victor Wembanyama, for all his promise, plays in a small market under a cautious developmental plan. Cade Cunningham can't stay healthy. Scoot Henderson's rookie season has been rocky. Basically, there's a vacuum at the top of the league's youth movement. So then, they found Flagg. He's young and charismatic. He comes from Maine, which is an unlikely basketball state, and that adds an underdog element to his story. And yes, being white in a sport where that's rare among stars also makes him stand out. He's instantly marketable in ways that go beyond the stat sheet. Remember, of course, that that's not on Flagg. It's actually on us, the media, the fans, the brands who build stars before they're tested. In the social media era, narratives don't wait for resumes. They're manufactured before the player has even played a college minute. That's the challenge for Cooper. He's not just fighting defenses. He's fighting expectations that were built, accelerated, and inflated by a machine that doesn't slow down for nuance. Being the projected #1 pick in the NBA draft is supposed to be a badge of honor, a signal that you're ready to be the face of a franchise, if not the entire league. But if history teaches us anything, it's this. The #1 pick is more of a spotlight than a safety net. And for Cooper Flagg, that spotlight could become blinding. Since 2000, the NBA has seen several #1 picks arrive with immense popularity. Players billed as generational talents, sure bets, and culture changers. But let's look at what happened.
With the first pick in the 2013 NBA Draft, the Cleveland Cavaliers select Anthony Bennett.
There was Anthony Bennett in 2013, a shock pick at the time, and he was labeled raw but talented. He never found his rhythm in the league, struggled with conditioning, and was out of the NBA in just a few seasons. Then, 2007 saw Greg Oden dominate college. He had a towering build and tremendous footwork, but devastating injuries meant Odin played only 105 games in his entire career. Not to mention Zion Williamson, who was arguably the most hyped prospect since LeBron. Yet, his injuries and conditioning concerns have kept him from sustaining greatness for a full season. What's the common thread here? These weren't busts due to a lack of talent. They were victims of expectations, injuries, role mismatches, pressure from fans and front offices. These were all factors that have nothing to do with skill. And when the league expects you to be great right now, there's little room for patience or nuance. Of course, Cooper Flagg might not face the exact same issues, as he's been relatively healthy and has the tools. But none of that guarantees he'll be able to carry a franchise in year 1 or even year 3. He's being marketed as a sure thing, yet the track record of top picks says otherwise. We've already established that Cooper Flagg has many genius moments, elite weak side shot blocking, a high motor, and great instincts on both ends of the floor, for example. But projecting him as a day one NBA star ignores a key truth. Even top-ranked prospects usually need time. Take Anthony Edwards, now a franchise player. In his rookie year, 2020 to 2021, he shot just 41.7% from the field and 32.9% from three, with a negative 1.0 box plus minus. Jason Tatum, a polished scorer by year 3, still averaged just 23.4 points per game and 1.6 assists per game in his first season, often disappearing late in games. Cade Cunningham, a number 1 pick touted for his all-around game, shot 41.6% field goal and 31.4% three-pointers his rookie year. In contrast, high school stars like Michael Beasley, with 26.2 points per game, 12.4 rebounds per game at Kansas State, or Jabari Parker, who had 19.1 points per game at Duke, never became franchise centerpieces. They peaked early but struggled to evolve in a league where raw talent isn't enough. Flagg's performances at Montverde and Team USA have been strong, but not flawless. Against Link Academy, he tallied up an impressive 15 points. Now, 6 of these were from 11 of shooting, 1 of 2 from a three-pointer, and 9 rebounds. He also had 2 assists, 2 blocks, and 2 steals, and all of these sum up to make solid numbers. But even with that strong outing, he was struggling to create in isolation, shooting just 2 out of 5 from the free throw line. His perimeter shot is inconsistent, and while he's shown playmaking flashes, he's averaged under 3 assists per game in EYBL play. Solid, but not elite. This isn't criticism, it's just an analysis. Flagg is still developing after all, but the narrative already treats him like a surefire all-star. If history tells us anything, it's that even the best prospects need time. And when fame races ahead of development, fans often miss the real deal. Now that Cooper Flagg is headed to Dallas, where superstar player Luka Doncic reigned, the spotlight might shine brighter, but the basketball fit could be more complicated than people think. On paper, playing after Luka Doncic, one of the league's most dominant playmakers, seems like a dream scenario for a rookie. Luka was fantastic at demanding attention, collapsing defenses, and creating opportunities. However, that same gravitational pull can also make it difficult for young players to replace him on their own terms. Ask Kristaps Porzingis, someone who was once a unicorn with all-NBA upside, whose numbers dipped and confidence seemed to waver in Luka's orbit. Or Dennis Smith Jr., a promising rookie who was quickly moved to the back after Luka's arrival, which ended up reshaping the offense. Even Spencer Dinwiddie, a capable scorer and facilitator, found himself relegated to spot-up duties. This is the nature of the basketball court. When a system is built around one player, what analysts call heliocentric basketball, there's less room for others to create, fail, and grow organically. For someone like Flagg, who thrives on activity, versatility, and defensive change. Being relegated to a corner or playing off secondary actions might limit what he does best. Psychologically, it also matters because when expectations are too high and your role is too minimal, your confidence will be affected. Consequently, development slows, and it doesn't take a breath before perspectives change, especially in a league that rarely waits. Flagg might adjust. He might even thrive. But history suggests that where you land and who you play in the shadow of can define far more than draft position or publicity ever could. These days, the NBA demands more than raw talent. It rewards fluidity, adaptability, and decision-making under pressure. Players like Jason Tatum, Evan Mobley, and Mikal Bridges represent a new archetype. Versatile wings and forwards who can defend multiple positions, hit shots efficiently, and create for others in transition or half-court sets. So, where does Cooper Flagg actually fit? Flagg, at 6'9", brings length, timing, and undeniable motor on defense. His instincts are elite for his age, and he's already a shot-blocking threat, averaging 3.7 blocks per game in his senior year at Montverde. There's still doubt, however, about his being quick enough laterally to guard elite wings on switches, or if he reliably creates offense against NBA-level defenders, whether he'll need others to set him up. We're sure that Cooper Flagg is a great player, but it's a fact that greatness comes in many forms. Before we crown him the league's next superstar, it's worth asking, are we seeing who he is or who we want him to be? The truth is, time, and the NBA of course, will reveal more than his current fame can, and we'll be here to see when that happens.